So now you gotta click around in there. You gotta look for a link. Share. I guess it says something like share. Do you see anything? Huh?
Yes. All right. Can you hear me now?
No. Yeah.
All right. Can you hear me now?
just make sure. Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. Now let me go to
Okay.
screen share.
Yes. So now go on your. Okay. So I'm gonna turn off my phone, right? So I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I thought you said you cut off your phone.
You're on the computer.
Oh, okay. I'll start talking now. All right, I'm talking.
Wait.
I am talking. It's probably
Okay. So there's a. But can you hear me? Can you hear me talking to you
yeah, on your phone, on the phone, yeah.
on the computer?
No, I don't hear you talking. Why would
Turn
you
up
be?
your volume. Volume on the. Go to the bottom. Go to the
I
bottom.
just turned it up. I can hear it loud and clear. Well, it says invite people. I see the invite people now. I see the hangout.
Dr. Isha, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna turn off my phone. Okay, you.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you for some strange reason. I cannot hear you. Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, okay, I know because I'm not on because you never sent me the damn link.
I send it now. I sent you the wrong
So
one.
send me
Here it is,
yes.
right here. So it says, copy this. Then go here, compose, watch my video, watch my commercial. I just sent you the link.
Okay.
You got it?
All right, Dr. Issa.
What's up?
Okay, so now there is a big problem in the internet right now. Firefox has ended its plugins. So Firefox has to do something to kind of update their systems.
Right.
So Firefox browsers are not working well.
Okay.
Okay. So you have to let people know that if at all possible, they should use Chrome or Internet Explorer till
Okay.
Firefox solves its problems. Okay.
All right.
Because they won't be able to get in through Firefox. Right. So when you send them the email, you have to let them know that Firefox may be having some problems. You have to use Internet Explorer, right? Or Chrome, right?
Right.
Okay. So now I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can share my screen.
You there?
Okay, so my computer stopped, so I'm gonna have to walk you through it.
All right. I see the screen share. I see it.
So on the bottom of your keyboard, there is a logo, a Microsoft logo. Click that.
Keyboard.
On your keyboard, you're gonna see control.
I just did. I see it. I did it.
Okay, good. So then you go and you pull up your, you go and you open up another window.
I already have it opened up. What I want.
So then you go back to screen share. So it has to be opened up in a separate window.
Yes,
So
I already
go,
opened up in a separate window.
Smarty, shit. God damn. Oh, right. So, damn. Hey.
Yes,
All
sir.
right, so then you go to share, start screen share, and you look for it.
What, when you say look for it, what do you mean?
It gives you when you say start screen share, right? That you can pull in.
I only see.
Okay, so that means it's not opening another window like I said. So
Oh, go
so
back to what you told me
You
to
have it
do.
open as a tab. You don't have it open as another window.
Yes, no, sir. You're right. I'm doing what you told me to do. I'm going here.
You have to go to the article, go to where the article is, the tab, and then where the tab is, and right click. It says open in another window. Now go back to start screen share and see if you see it.
Still don't see it.
Okay, well, open up another browser.
Again.
Open another browser up. You browser.
Go back. Yep.
And put the link in Google Chrome.
All right, that's what I'm doing. All right, I'm at the Wikipedia site. Yep.
Go back to your Google Hangout screen and say start screen share.
Screen share. When you say look for it, what do you mean by look for
When
it?
you click on
I see it. I got to see. When you do it, it says, it's on there when you share your screen. It says, enter your screen or application with window. Application with window, and boom. Hit it, touch it, boom. There you go.
take some goddamn notes, Dr. Issa. You gotta take some notes.
I got it now.
Anytime you want to stop sharing your screen, you gotta remember, you'll be talking, they won't be seeing you.
But there are two tabs up here. It says stop or present to everyone.
Right. So you would say present. I guess you would say present to everyone.
All right. So can I scroll up and down it?
Yes. So then what you would do is now you would leave your Google Hangout and go to that web page and scroll up and down.
Oh, okay. And
So
I
you
can
would press that logo button on the keyboard and then go to where that browser, where that article is, and then scroll up and down.
the screen share, go back to the logo.
Yeah. It's locked on the article. I'm just trying to see to the article. I mean, I'm trying to get back into your Hangout. So give me a second. Computer's starting up again. So it's a major deal with Firefox that they ended their life cycle for plugins.
They want you to pay now?
No, they don't want you to pay. You have to fix something. So it says, let me see, Firefox include Firefox uses a plugin. Firefox is ending support for plugins able to support video and Hangouts if updated to resolve the problem. Solution that will be available as soon as possible. In the meantime, you can use the following browsers. So I am going to another browser. I have to use another browser to connect up. And I did and it crashed. So okay, got Lisa. Okay, so I got this. Yeah. This because this see, I didn't know what was happening earlier. And one of my applications that I use, I'm practicing day trading. That's where my money, or going to make my money. And so one of my systems that gives me the Forex markets was not working. With a better strategy today, actually putting more money into the market, and the rest of my hair, it wasn't working. And did it support for plugins? So now I know. Later on in the day, I found out what happened with Firefox. And that is a big problem. I'm just waiting so I can see what you're doing.
Oh, so if I want to, I can go see myself, open it up in another browser, go to YouTube.
You would open up YouTube and go to E41 so you can see the comments. The computer is going to be looking at you, right? So you don't have to worry about the computer where to look at it. So it's
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So one of us got some feedback.
I think that's me. Is that you or me?
I'm gonna turn off. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm gonna try to turn off my phone. All right. So now go to your browser. Go to the article.
Uh-huh.
So I see the article clear as day.
You can see it?
Yeah, I can see the article. Because you told it to share that screen. So I can see that.
Am I
So
moving
now,
it?
Yes, you're moving it.
Okay, I'm cool.
So, yeah, so you're moving it. Everything is cool. And if you want to stop sharing it, you go back to your Google Hangout page and you stop sharing it. And then if you want to open up something else, you share your screen again. So now I see you.
All right, I see.
So you're like Sonetta now.
Look up.
So
am I moving it up and down now? Can you see me moving it up and down again?
Yes. So now I see the sister and the brother, and I see the shack.
Now this is the last slave ship brought to America in the illegal one. We think there was one brought in '64 to Galveston, Texas, also. 61, and the last person who was born in Africa died in 1935. Alabama. It's a historic town called Africa Town. Bobby Wright is from that town.
We don't get no reparations, right?
Bobby Wright, the famous black psychiatrist, he's from that town.
Now, other people,
they had their own
other
king.
people, Dr. Issa, other people can other people can see us right now. So
are they on?
Well, we're doing a testing, so we really don't want them on, but I'll tell you if anybody, because see, when you have subscribers, so when you have subscribers, it notifies your subscribers that you are on. You understand?
Yeah.
So let's just see if anyone's on. Okay, so right now I guess I'm the only one watching. No,
all right, good.
No, CD Dave 423 is on. So CD Dave 423 is on, and Greg Marble Sr. So CD Dave 423 is on. Okay, so Dr. Issa, I'll let you describe this for a little while because you got two guests.
All right, everybody, this is what I'm doing. As you see the title, the title of this particular hangout, The Last Slave Ship, Dr. Ben Carson. And you'll see what I'm doing here. I have named Africa Town. And this was formed by 35 Africans from Ghana, brought to Mobile, Alabama, 1861. And you see right here on the back, and her husband, Kojo Lewis. Born Africans in 1910 in Mobile, Alabama, and the famous black psychiatrist, Bobby Wright, is from this town, right? I just want to show people. People say we didn't come here on ships. You hear a lot of people saying this pseudo history, people who are not properly trained. This is the last legal slave ship. Well, there's actually one that came in there was actually one 64, and but I'll deal with that another time. This by this Senegalese European, her name is Sylvana Doff. The book is called Africa in Alabama, the slave ship Ida, and the story of the last African brought to America. Joe ended up dying in 1935. He spent his whole life trying to get back to Africa. And there were still a few thousand African-born people in the United States. In 1910, there were several thousand, tens of thousands of children who were born by their grandparents were born in Africa. So these are Black people, parents who were born in Africa. I saw this all throughout Louisiana. Explain why the Garvey movement had so many branches in Louisiana to go back to Africa. But we can see right here, wife in 1910. They're actually in their 50s at this time. Right? So there's a book on it. I think it's in my opinion, I don't like the book, biased toward African Americans, and I pointed that out. She makes this difference. Of course, there are going to be cultural differences of Africans who are coming over from Africa in 1810, and another group of Africans in 1860, another group of Africans, 3-4 generations. Right, so there are cultural differences, but she highlights them as to say that Africans who were born into slavery for several generations were not African like the ones like Kojo. This type of colonialized intellectual thinking that goes on. So also, Zora Neale Hurston talks about Africa Town. She went there and studied. And so those people are still there, the descendants of Kojo and the 35 Africans founding Africa Town in Mobile, Alabama. Still there, direct, and they have a king, right? They are still there, right there in Mobile, Alabama. That's our people, right? Important in understanding this. I'm going to do another video later on, but this is just for the few people I know. Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So in the new African American Museum, have you been there yet?
No, but I already know because I know the people, all of the participants who were advisors to it were non-African Americans, and the few African Americans who were there stand up for our people and our African origins. They don't want to talk about it.
So Africa Town is
so now
not.
they don't talk about this.
They don't talk about Africa Town.
They don't talk about Gullah, Geechee. They don't talk about there are families in Louisiana who can trace their lineage all the way back. It's a whole clan in Louisiana who can trace their lineage. The first Africans who came here as enslaved Africans during the 16th century. That whole family changed their name 60s to Senegal.
What happens if me and you, we go there and we protest? Will we get arrested? Is it federal land? Will it be a federal charge?
I don't know. We'll have to get a permission. It's federal land and it's a tourist site, and they want to govern it and make sure you don't scare the tourists. museum, but
so
this is very serious.
There's not. We just can't. We don't have freedom of speech. We got to get a permit to protest the museum.
Yeah, for the most part.
Are you serious? So we can't. Me and you, we can't go and protest that museum without being arrested.
No, we don't. We can't do that.
So if 2 people, 5 people, 10 people wanted to protest the museum, permit.
Yeah, I think we will need a permit, but you can get a permit though.
Okay, so we should maybe we should go to DC, Dr. Jahi Issa, and we should get a permit and protest it. I don't have a problem protesting a pseudo African American museum that doesn't detail our history correctly.
No, man, they don't talk about. They don't like to talk about point of origin. They want us to think that there's no point of origin. We're just Americans, and so you get these other pseudos like the Moors who come on and start saying, "Oh, we were already here. Them slave ship voyages." You right now, if you look here, this is I went. So let me share this screen. I'm now an expert. Thank you. Thanks to Brother Reggie.
Yeah. So I know.
Let me share it to everyone. All right. This right here is the actual the 33,000 voyages 1514 to 1866. There were 33,000 voyages by the British. This is just the British, not other groups. British, right?
So but you're also, but no, you're also saying there's also the Spanish too. So
There's
I
the
see
Spanish, the Portuguese, the Danish. Who settled Delaware? Newfoundland. All European powers, the French, they all got involved. This is just the British because we're in British North America. Now, when I was a first semester PhD student at Howard, we went to this conference when they first revealed this database. Several doctoral students, and we got a training on how to use this database. And then I decided to take this in the historiography. So we're reading all the scholars and the foundational scholars and the debates that came with them, the academic debates on. So we now know, we believe it's somewhere between 12 and 20 million Africans were abroad. Now, the British are responsible for the United States. Here's a vessel named Pasto de Lima, and it tells you exactly.
But these ships, Dr. Issa, at this time, it's the Americans, the British. America has won the Revolutionary War, roughly, and so now the British don't have any jurisdiction. So we're at this particular point, from 1870.
Well, it depends on what point we're talking about. This database goes from. This is the colonial period. In fact, this is the Spanish period. When you
were showing that list, this was in 1817.
Right. Yeah. So, this is after the end. 1817 is after the 1808 is the end of the transatlantic slave trade, where the British forced into a treaty.
The legal trade.
So it was a legal trade. So the legal trade continued all the way up until 1864. in with the last Catilda legal trade.
Yes. So this in this database, I have there's a publication. There's a publication that's also aligned with it. I use some of the pictures in the publication, the maps in my debate against the Moors.
Yeah. Oh, you use some stuff from here. All right, good.
But
right here, yeah, this database has 1,000 voyagers, 35,000. All right, and so go to the history.
I'm curious. In the African American Museum, they should have a whole exhibit with this website. This should be the leading website for the museum. Meaning, when you walk in,
what they should have is not only this, but let's talk about the brother Kojo, who died in 1935, and he had children. Children and great-grandchildren are still living in Alabama. They have a point of origin. They know for sure what tribe they came from, right? Right?
Yeah.
They are clear on their African origins. Not only what tribe they came from, but what? You see? And so this is what it's about. Find out what family and what clan you were taken from in Africa.
And those same people who have this point of origin with this ship, we could find out who owned the ship, or that family could find out who owned the ship,
and
right?
Sue them.
And that's a direct connection if the people who own the ship are in any type of corporation. What people don't understand is this is how they beat us. Humans have a mortality life. We live and die. But corporations have extended life. They're almost immortal. So if you are a corporation, you can live for hundreds of years, 200 years, 150 years, 300 years. If you're a human, you're only going to live, really at about 80 at best, 80, 85 at these days at best, right? So we lost the reparations suit in federal court because they claimed the Judge Posner claimed that you can't find any of the original people that was injured,
right? And
that is incalculable for all of the descendants. People haven't read that case, Farmer Pellman case, which is the last reparations case. So people talk from a point. You're talking about a point of origin. We talk from a point of ignorance. So
a lot of ignorance. Yeah. So Rudolph Red, but even for the Moors, let me give them something. Scholar, he's one of the top African American Islamic scholars. There are quite a few of them, but this cat is doing something that's so unique.
Now, when you mean, I don't understand. When you mean the Moors, what are you talking about, Dr. Issa? I don't understand. What you're talking about? Followers of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali?
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
Was the original Moor. My uncle joined the Moorish Science Temple. His father joined it in 1928, and then he joined it in 1950. Part of the temple. They still have the original building that was bought in the 1940s in St. Louis, Missouri. Moorish temple I grew up. They're not like these renegades. The old school Moors know that they're African. These new guys, they're on some whole other stuff.
Well, that's debatable because the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he was pretty clear he was pretty clear about what he believed. So his early followers would have had to believe what he believed, and he's pretty clear um, about his stance on black. He's pretty clear. I think the New Moors they continue that with less information. Uh, um, they have less records, but the Prophet Noble Drew Ali never said he was African. He never said he was black. That he did not.
I want you to hear this, Reggie. Check this out. All right? For a second. Can you hear it?
No.
You can't hear it? Do you see it?
I see it. I know that scholar. I know that, I know that scholar, they continue to prop him up, but no, I don't. Do you hear it on your screen?
I can hear it on my screen.
Okay, so somehow you're not sharing, it's not sharing the audio. But what is he going to say?
So what he's basically saying there, basically he's writing a new book. He's looking at the Islamic wars, the wars the Arabs are running on African people, and African people are now taking up Islam, and some of them are forced into Islam. Okay. He is looking at, listen, hear me out, it's very important. He is examining 76 African people from the Senegambia area, Gambia region, modern day West Africa. And he's in the 17th and 18th century. And there's a abolitionist, a Muslim Islamic abolitionist movement going on there. Africans who are Muslims now are advocating for the end of the slave trade.
That's correct.
They start a revolution, and some of them ended up over in the United States as slaves. So he goes to this slave database that I showed earlier, finds the ships that they were taken out of, because there were very good records at that point. He finds 76 of them in Senegal and Gambia, and the same 76 people, he finds them in the Caribbean and in the United States as enslaved Africans. And he follows their lives and the lives of their descendants. Serious research. This is the latest stuff that those of us who are trained in history, right? And so the cats who are basically talking about this, who are sharing this, they don't really understand the historical episode.
Well, that's what I want to add to. I'm listening to some of the chats, right? And one person chatting says, Brother Reggie's hatred for the Moors is clear.
Oh, they're on right now? Are they on live?
Oh, yeah. They're watching. A few of them are watching YouTube. Now, let's get this. The difference is that the Moors had their chance when we had the debate to show me that they knew history. At the time when Tariq captured Al-Andalus, he was never ever called a Moor. The word did not exist for him.
Not only that, brother, let me give you even. Let's get to the United States, right? There's a guy that I talk about, script named Abdul Rahman, part of these wars during the 17th century, into slavery to Louisiana and then to Alabama. And someone who was trading with his father recognized this man and said, I know who your father is. This is a true story. And he then begins to fight for him to get free by saying that he's a prince of a king, of a very large kingdom. And he had his own garrison, right? And he was going out hunting other Africans, being hunted and sold into slavery. And he ended up meeting Denmark. He met all of the Frederick Douglass. He ended up meeting David Walker. All of these guys at that time period, he met them. Ended up trying to raise money for him to go back to Africa and for him to buy his wife and his 5 kids, right? And they first reached out to the king of Morocco if he would give the money, and he gave the money. But the king of Morocco said he's not a Moor. He said, I'm not a Moor. I am of this particular tribe in this particular kingdom. I am not a Moor, I'm an African. What I'm saying, a lot of these guys don't really know the history, and it's really, you can't even argue with them. You just have to train them to be trained. But a lot of them are so far gone, they don't even want to be trained, right? And so I don't even argue with them but I do try to refute some of their pseudo information because it's very dangerous. Ahistorical, and it's taking people down the wrong path.
Well, it is when you have people who don't have any elements of a background of history, trying to rewrite history.
Right.
People who have no verifiable access to some of the great scholars. They read a few books, but they don't do a complete survey of literature.
Right.
So you can't, and then they don't have any primary information on because I wasn't going to speak about the Moors at all. I was just listening to you talking about the point of origin in the last slave ship, the last legal slave ship. But throughout my debate and some of my other work, that you have the first Africans coming to the New World was from a captured ship, and the first Africans coming to the New World on the side of the British were from Angola, and the rest of the Africans coming to the Africa was largely from the Senegambia area, but there was not one slave ship, not one ship from Mauritania, Morocco that came to the New World. You know, they do not understand that Al-Mansur is the only or the earliest Moorish or king who called himself a Moor. And when he was doing that, there is a clear letter where he was negotiating with Queen Elizabeth I, the traitor that he was.
Yes.
Al-Mansur.
Do you see this screen share I just shared up?
Yes.
All right. Now, this guy, I talk about him in my doctoral dissertation in my oncoming manuscript on the Garvey movement in Louisiana, Africa. Now, this cat ends up in New Orleans for a short time period. A commander, a governor. He was captured in the region of Guinea, sold into slavery in the United States, 1888. And Abdul Rahman is his name, but he was born right here. It says he was the prince, and his father made him the head of a 2,000-man army. He was going out capturing other Africans. It was warfare. Capture or be captured. That was the issue all over Africa, particularly by the 18th century. Started with the Portuguese during the 14th century. But by the 18th century, it was all out war, from Senegal all the way down to Angola and all the way into the interior of the Congo.
But
right? And so this cat is brought over. He's into slavery for almost 10 years, and he meets this guy right here named Dr. John Cox, father, because they used to sell slaves to John Cox. Ends up the people on who this guy is, and there's this big movement to buy him out of slavery. He's only able to buy himself, his wife, and his oldest son. His sons, the other children remain into slavery, and they just did a movie on him. And his descendants are still in Alabama to this day. This is a different type of person. 100 years before Kojo, who came over on the last slave ship, right? This man's descendant, royalty, they're in Alabama to this day. All of his children, they are there. So, they're there. They know their origins. They know where they're from. They know that their maternal great grandfather was a king. Great grandfather was a prince. He was able to go back to Africa. He died within a few weeks of going, but his sons still remained in Syria. Some say that they even went up back to Guinea and began surgery on there. But the other descendants, they still live in Alabama. And so this is the issue all over the Americas. And they try to make us think that we have no memory, understanding of our African past. And here is just a prime example what was going on, right? And this is him right here, Abdul Muhammad. This is him at the age of 50 something. He had been in the United States for several decades. He can read and write Arabic. He could read and write Arabic. He taught people in Alabama how to read and write Arabic. Not just him, you had other Africans who were not Muslims, like Kojo. Kojo was not a Muslim. He was an indigenous Akan who dealt with Akan tradition. All right, and so you have this all over the United States and the Caribbean, in Brazil, and Ecuador. I can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
I want to add that this this individual that you were showing.
Yes.
One of the things is that he is not a Moor. He's
not a Moor.
Now, one of the things is that the Moors, not the Moors, but the people of Morocco, the king of Morocco, in this case is Al-Mansur, he attacked Timbuktu and took back slaves.
And the British funded it.
That's correct. The British funded it because the British gave Al-Mansur cannons. Al-Mansur got his cannons from the British, and ultimately the British double-crossed Al-Mansur because they had agreed to go to the New World together. But the British decided to go to the New World without the Moroccans, and because they found the new sugar supply. At that time, Morocco was one of the leaders in sugar plantations. So what the British did was established sugar plantations in the Caribbean. So it made Morocco very weak because their economy was, one of the economies was based on salt and sugar and slaves. So Morocco became weakened and that they were double crossed. But they did want to create a slave empire, and I detailed that in my I mentioned that certainly in my debate and some of my other papers. So when you're talking about this slavery, capture or kill or be killed, what's going on is that this began much earlier with the invasions of not Muslims. I'm not going to call them Muslims. I'm going to call them Arabs. The Arab conquest of Africa, the spreading of not Islam, but this Arab religion, and there was several sects of it. So you certainly have, and that also led to the fall of Al-Andalus, because the Arabs began fighting amongst themselves and the Arabized Africans based on their versions of Islam.
So Hassan is a Moor? Is Hassan a Moor?
Who cares? I mean, I'm waiting for his credentials.
All right. So anyway, this is what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I was just waiting for his credentials, because he seems to want to criticize as to who wins the intellectual debate. And I mean, if you don't have any university training, you don't have any mentors, you don't have any papers, you don't have any articles, then you're just a cheerleader, and you can continue eating your popcorn. But if you don't have any, what do you call it, status, any status, then you should not be talking at all. Because in that debate that I had, two of my teachers, professors, sat in the front row. I didn't even need to involve them in it, which I could have. But my whole point of it is, you have people without status commenting, and those days are over. All those days, Dr. Issa, of all of these characters coming up and trying to sound smart without any references. You're supplying some data of an African who came to America, and he has this background, and he is not a Moor. So this is a real person that we can look at, not a fictitious person. And then
it was 135 of them, Cujo, who were taken from Benin and Ghana. 135, but 35 of them ended up settling in Africa Town, Alabama. And that place is still there again, and his descendants are there.
So you're not giving primary information. You're giving good secondary sources, and you're showing your breadth, because you are in fact a PhD, and you're showing lynch pins, things that really hurt the opponents, because they don't show this, nor do they know this. They don't show it, nor do they know it, and they're seeing it for the very first time. And it's them who is trying to rewrite history, and they don't have the elements of history.
Right. So I just wanted to show this, and thank you, Brother Reggie, for giving me my first lesson, how to do a screen share and do this is my very first Google Hangout E41. I'm going to be coming on regularly, doing contemporary news. I'll be dealing with history. I'll be dealing with all type of stuff, and I'll be lecturing. I'll be going around the country lecturing also about this. And I'll be building up my own fan base, I'm very grateful. Really want to thank Brother Sarnetta for giving me the confidence to do this. Sarnetta introduced me to this platform, and I didn't want to do it because I saw all the drama, and I'm like, oh, these guys are not serious. But I'm kind of glad, because I see that there's a need, trained historians, and I thank Brother Reggie for being patient with me and showing me the rope. And I may need you 1 or 2 more times, Brother Reggie. For those who are on here tomorrow between 1 and 2, I'll be interviewing Dr. Ada Fisher. She is one of the most powerful Black women in the country, and she just by happens to be a Republican. All right, I'll be interviewing her, so stay attuned, stay abreast. I'm excited about this, and let's move forward.
Yeah, and I think, well, so you're going to be interviewing a white Republican or a Black Republican?
This is an African-American woman.
Okay, that's fine. Listen, in my Black City plan, I don't care what your political affiliation is. First and foremost, you have to understand that it was the Republicans that were a major part of the Civil War. The Democrats were slavers. The Republicans, we got our so-called independent emancipation under Republicans.
Yeah, under the radical Republicans, this is true.
The Democrats were slavers. They were the Southerners. They were the Southern slavers. So people don't understand history. We're supposed to use any tool, whether it's Republican, Democrat, Independent, to capture power. So, for example, Dr. Issa, if I was running against a Democratic incumbent in a city, right, as a mayor, as a city council person, I would get knocked out in the primaries. The only way I would have a chance is if I changed my party affiliation and wouldn't get knocked out in the primaries, but would have a good chance in the final elections, right? So people don't understand strategies. So being a Democrat is not being Black. That's not what it is. Having your best interest is being a member of your people. So I'm gonna leave myself. A shout out to Chris Woods.
What's up, brother Chris? Peace.
Chris Woods. There's a couple of other people on it, and I see he's going back and forth with this dude Hassan. Listen, these forums are open to everyone, even if you do not have any credentials. However, if you don't have any credentials, it gets to a point where, you know, you should just listen and observe. If you can find something that a person is saying incorrect, speak to the incorrectness of or the correctness. Don't speak to the personality. I mean, to bring up whether someone believes I lost or won a debate is irrelevant to this conversation. The point of this conversation was to talk about some small misnomers about the people who came here in America from Africa. First of all, they were African. They were African, and they had various religions, indigenous religions, and some had the religion of Islam. But the majority of them had, from the regions that they were taking, they had indigenous beliefs, and a few of them from the Guinea area had Islamic beliefs, but it wasn't overwhelming Islamic. Most of the Africans came from Angola, but there were many that came from Senegambia. So for people to not understand that the majority of our people came from not Arab places is something that people are in a certain amount of mythology. They don't know that that there was a competition of slaves. Some are African captives, and the Spanish took some to the New World from the territories where they captured slaves, and the Spanish took their captives to South America, and that the British, who were the major players, took their captives to the Americas, and then they were inherited by the Americans. The problem is people have not, read. They have not done a survey of literature. They have these misnomers about where our people came from and what religion they had. The religion that these early Africans had that were Islamic, that's part of the story. They didn't get that. The people from Timbuktu and other places, they accepted Islam in a very peaceful way. However, Morocco invaded a peaceful black Islamic empire and enslaved them. And so this is one of the problems with Islam, where you're not supposed to enslave another Muslim, but for no reason whatsoever, except for their wealth, were they enslaved. And I think people just have a problem with me telling the truth, because the history is clear. I mean, I could pull out a book. I could pull out several books. I could pull out Morocco from Empire to Independence by C.R. Pennell. You can read that you can read it there very clearly. You could look at the various Islamic. Anyway, Dr. Issa, I'm not gonna continue this dialogue. Thanks for sharing two important pieces. One, the last slave ship, and two, the brother who we know came to America from the slave trade and had and laid the foundation of African people, which we should be proud of. So, and then we should fight for our legacy. So, thanks so very much, and we'll talk later.
All right, brother. We'll talk soon. Thanks a lot. Peace.